Hi, everybody. I'm Ronnie Shaver from Ronnie's Garage in Southern California. And this is our monthly technical seminar via Zoom. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this list. It's going to be on a 53R type. Suspension performance. You wonder, how is a suspension supposed to perform? It's supposed to not make you feel nervous when you drive the car, not rattle the fenders off, and not dart, not move around, and rebound. And that's something that's important. These have knee action shocks. They are hydraulic lever shocks. They don't have tubes with gas and fluid in them. These are the suspension is usually integrated in the front, and in the rear they have them off to the side. But your car should not, when you hit a bump, it shouldn't either bounce down and bang, nor should it bounce up. That just means typically on these cars that the fluid is low. Okay, and you say, well, how would the fluid get low? Because of a leak generally, or it's never been maintained properly. We're going to address that during the service. So I have also here abnormal noises, wandering, ride quality. Those are all covered there. Heater system performance. That, well, on your road test is when the best time to check a heater. Typically, the cars that don't get used much, the heater will kind of get a little coagulated inside. So I always like to take them out. I've usually just put the defrost on. On most modern cars, defrost is full everything out the windshield, but it overrides everything, so that what happens is if the heater core it's got some buildup in it, and you're on a road test and you turn the heater on, you can push it through. If you let it set and don't use it for years, and all of a sudden you want to use it, it may not work. Okay, so that's why I do the heater system. So on the heater system performance, I have here abnormal noises, temperature, and mode changes. This is a pretty simple car, but it's got a defrost that is separate from the heater. The heater is under the left seat on this car. There's a round heater core. It's pretty cute. And then there's a little fan, so it kind of gently pushes air out. It's not a super effective system by any means. Windshield washer operation. These have usually don't work. They have a vacuum operated washer. You want to check the wipers. The R-type has a 2-speed motor generally, that you just turn a switch on and those arms move back and forth. And they're supposed to park below the windshield. The Mark 6, which is an earlier version of that, has a really antiquated wiper system to where you have to really engage the wipers to the gear mechanism. And then the right one generally is the one, once you engage it, it turns the motor on. It's only one speed. Horn, boop, check the horn. Believe it or not, horn is a safety feature. Is a safety, it's very important. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to raise the car and start talking about the service procedure. After the road test, when the engine's good and warm, is the best time to drain the oil, because everything's mixed up. Any sediments or many of the sediments in the oil pan will be disturbed and moved around, and the oil will be nice and warm, and that's the best time to drain it. And just so you all know out there, I have already drained the oil on this car. Here's one of the benefits of the COVID-19. I used to buy gloves from a glove supplier, and I bought these black nitrile ones, and nothing else would do for me. I had to have this type. Well, as COVID hit and we all started seeing shortages of everything, I was forced to buy these, and now I love these better than all the other ones. So we don't know what we don't know, and I guess variety is the spice of life. So let me get my light, my pointer. Why do you like them better? They have like a texture on them. I like the color, believe it or not. I used to like the black ones, but black one, you never know how dirty it really is. These, I know how dirty they are. Plus, they kind of, well, not really. They brighten up the area. So here's your drain plug on this. It uses that special little socket. Let me grab it. That Rolls-Royce likes us to use, and Bentley. This is the special little socket. Can you see it right there? This doubles as a radiator cap removal tool also, but it's 5/16 BS Allen socket. So that goes in there. So right here, you see this is the oil level sender, okay? I guarantee you this one doesn't work because there's no wires going to it. So most of the Rolls-Royce and Bentleys, especially early post-war on, they have a feature to where there's a test button on the dash and your fuel gauge doubles as an oil level gauge. And on that fuel gauge, there'll be a little orange line with a little script on it that says min oil. So when you press the test button and the car's not running, I do it that way because I know make sure the levels, the oil's all on the bottom of the pan. You can check your oil. You can check your oil level, so long as it's working. So this one, I'm going to note on the service sheet that this is not working, primarily because of the fact that there's no wires to it, so there's no way it can work. Plus, by looking at it, it's not the original one. It's not correct. So there's a wire, all kinds of wires hanging loose. Look at that. Right there. Who knows what that goes to? So during the service, we're going to look underneath the car. So I mentioned suspension stuff. You want to look at suspension joints. These have rubber joints in here. And this that are hard to see. There's rubber joints up in this. There's a rubber joint in here. It's a metal elastic joint. That keeps that arm from rocking back and forth. They've got the rebound stops and then the bump stops. Now there's two different things. So this right here is a rubber stop. So when the suspension goes up, it hits that rubber instead of hitting the frame. That's called a bump stop. Rebound stop is this one up here. See, it's all distorted right here. So when the suspension comes down, it keeps it from banging against the suspension. Here's a stop right there. This is a metal stop. So if this rubber was not there, this thing would come down and you hear a loud bang. So that's the rebound stop, bump stop. Old cars like this, they will deteriorate. Now also in here, they've got a radius arm. This right here is called a radius arm. Okay, so this goes up and down, and it's got a rubber mount in here with a ball socket. It's kind of like a hip joint. You got a ball socket in there, and then there's a rubber, it looks like a tennis ball without the fuzz, and has a hole in it. So that, look for signs of that eating out. This one's getting a lot of oil from the Bajur. You can see that, and the steering box. So this will deteriorate faster than this one. Well, you can see on this side, this one's in better shape. You can probably see it better from this side. Okay, that's the front suspension. Sway bar mounts. Here's another place to look. This one, it's got kind of a tired. Is this light working better? I like the clever stacking of washers here. There's usually a steel sleeve in there. This is your sway bar. It keeps it from leaning too much in the corners. You've got the end links, and then you've got these other mounts that it attaches to the frame with. So just these are. This one's starting to go, but it's not totally shot. Oh, okay. No, that's not original. This is an old car that was in restoration, and we kind of finished it up within budget. Here's that servo I was talking about. Pardon me. This is your brake booster, and that's your what supplies the assist for your braking. You can see the exhaust. You can see this is hitting right here, so it's got a little rattle over bumps, and I did hear that. It's got a nice, nice looking exhaust system actually. Here are the heater hoses. Right here going to the heater that's under the seat here. Okay. Transmission's a little wet. It's got some mounts. You got a rear mount back here that's kind of nasty looking. And then it's got this mount here. It's got side mounts. There's a lot of mounts. Here's your master cylinder for the hydraulic part of the brakes. Okay. Lots. This is the master cylinder right here. Okay, and this is all your brake linkages. There's a lot going on these. You can see here's a row of three levers right here. One goes to the servo, which applies the brakes. Another one goes to the master cylinder. And that's this one right here, this one. And this one goes to the parking brake. And the parking brake activates the rear brakes, which is another one right here that goes back to this lever right here. There's a mount that's getting a little tired that supports this braking rod. These are old cars.